Welcome to Beyond County Lines.
Today we're speaking with Santa Fe County Fire Department.
Beyond County Lines, where communities flow. Santa Fe County updates, everybody wants to know.
I usually open with an icebreaker, and I'm changing it up just a little bit, and we're going to play trivia.
Nice.
Oh, no.
All right. So, you guys ready? This is all fire-related trivia.
No, that's even worse.
It's okay if you get it wrong. This is a learning experience for all of us, and I've never done this before, so I might cut this whole thing out.
See how it goes.
All right. So, I have about 4 questions here. If we hit the 3-minute mark, then we're going to go right into the actual topic. But, all right, here we go. I'm going to start with true or false. And you're playing too.
Okay.
So I'm just the game show host.
We need you, Olivia.
Yeah, you guys got this. True or false? If there's a grease fire, you should throw water on it.
Oh, gosh.
Do we have a buzzer?
I wish I did. What's your answer?
No, not on grease. That's dangerous.
No, unless you're trying to go viral on Instagram, yes, we should avoid water at all costs.
Absolutely, because what would happen if somebody threw water on a grease fire?
Very volatile.
It's exponential. Yes, sir.
All right. 1 point for Olivia. Next question. Next question is, according to the National Fire Protection Association, how long do you have to escape a house fire?
Oh,
Down to
Ooh, is this multiple choice?
Sure, I can give you multiple
I
choice.
think it's down to like 2 minutes now, isn't it?
I think it's less. Yeah, and it actually breaks it down to type of construction. They've got vintage furniture that they call legacy furniture. You burn slower, and then now it's synthetic furniture. It's like less than a minute to 2 minutes to get
All
out.
right, yep, that's
quick.
exactly the answer. 2 minutes or less. So,
Now, grandma, though, she's got a few minutes because her furniture's old. It takes a lot longer to
Oh,
burn.
really?
So that's
Didn't
how
it
that
drop
works.
from,
Yeah.
I want to say it was like 6 minutes, right? Originally, like from the mid 70s, 80s, it was like 6 minutes.
that is interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
that's scary. 2 minutes.
Quality construction is just up in flames.
Right.
If you know this, my mind's going to be blown if anybody knows this. When was the first fire department founded in the entire nation?
Oh, I
Just
don't
get
remember.
The
ballpark
bucket
Yes, I
brigades.
don't remember the year personally, but it was Ben Franklin with the Volunteer Fire Service. That's like chapter 1
Yeah.
in your firefighter book. It's Ben Franklin,
Philadelphia.
colonial
Ding, ding, ding,
times, Philadelphia. Yeah, I just don't remember the exact year.
1736, founded by Benjamin Franklin.
Wow,
Yeah.
Saul's killing it.
Right, but all three of you have a point each right now, I
Well, and
guess.
the first engine was imported from England by George Washington.
And firefighting actually goes back to ancient Roman times.
Wow, you guys are blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
It was originally slaves were the first fire teams. But
Wow.
then they realized that they had no incentive to save their masters' properties. So that's when they came with like the first like paid team.
Dang. Gotta let it
Very
burn.
cool. I should have asked you guys to come up with some questions. All right, this is the last question, and this is purely for my entertainment because I'm curious if this is true or not. I got all these questions from ChatGPT, my new best friend. Okay, so last question. And I don't know if this is true, but what animal do firefighters rescue most often?
They want us to say cat out of a tree. That's what they want us to say.
want. Yeah.
But I don't think that's the answer. Personal experience, I would go with a dog. I can't tell you how many dogs, puppies that we've gotten out of houses pre or post a fire.
Oh, I see.
That's my best guess
Yeah,
on personal
yeah.
experience. But that one, I don't know. What do you think, Ignacio?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's not the cats. We always would just say if it got up there, it can get down.
I see.
Though I've gone to that call 3 times in
For
my
a
whole
cat?
career so far as a cat
Oh,
stuck
wow.
up on a
Interesting.
pole or a tree. Yeah.
I see. But then when you're rescuing a dog, it's because there was an actual fire.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What was the answer?
The answer was cat. Dang
it. Yeah.
But maybe that's a nationwide thing. This
Maybe,
isn't
yeah.
focused
The
on
cat
Santa
in the
Fe
tree.
County. All right. Thank you guys for entertaining me with that. That was a lot of fun. I like that.
That was really fun.
All right. I should have had you introduce yourselves. If I can please have you say your name and your title, please. Either of you.
Sal Caputo, Battalion Chief of Special Operations.
Ignacio Dominguez, the Administrative Services Manager for the fire department.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Beyond County Lines podcast. Today, we're going to talk about 2 different things, wildfire mitigation education days and volunteer firefighters. Do you want to open up with meetings? I know, Ignacio, I wanted to give you some recognition for putting all these huge events together.
Hands down.
First off, the Santuario I don't know what you would call it, preparedness meetings where you had so many agencies working together. It's pretty amazing that you're able to get that. And if anybody else is involved, I'm sure there are more people, but
no one involved is going to complain that you're giving Ignacio the credit. That's for sure.
But yeah, kudos to you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
But could you tell us a little bit about the wildfire mitigation events, starting with the biggest one we had, and then the two that maybe we had in the last month, and the ones that are coming up?
So the whole point of the wildfire mitigation meetings was that we wanted to get all of the players involved under one roof. We wanted to make it as simple as possible for all of the residents, all of our constituents to be able to get all the answers they needed in one place. You know, it's difficult if you don't know who to talk to or who you should ask this question to or who you shouldn't ask this question to, or when you go somewhere and you ask the question and then, oh, you need to go talk to this person, and now you have to go track them down. So we wanted to put everybody together in one room. So the first meeting we had a great turnout. Tons of people showed up, and I think people really found a lot of useful information, from our wildland teams to the superintendent of insurance's office was there. We had the city wildland team was there as well. Our dispatch was there. OEM was there. Everybody really was able to bring a lot of information for people to understand and to just really be able to offer another viewpoint and to get those questions that maybe you weren't going to ask any other way, and you had the opportunity. And then these smaller ones that we're taking more directly into the communities are really just designed to get all the people who weren't able to attend. So we're taking the meetings to them. So we're doing them in the different regions of the county. Different commissioner districts are also involved with each one, but we really just kind of wanted to take that same concept, kind of a traveling roadshow.
I see. I feel like I'm taking too much of the time. Olivia, please ask a question.
Well, what are some of the main takeaways that you think have come out of some of the education days? Because you've had 2, 3 since this summer?
I think we're at 2 additional since the big one in the summer. Yes, ma'am. You're the one who coined it the first time when we were first broadcasting this. You know, it's the one-stop shop, like Ignacio was talking about. All the resources there all at once. I think the biggest takeaways, it's really vague, but I mean, there's so much people are learning, like they didn't know what they didn't know. You know, for so long, firefighters show up, there's fire, we put water on the fire, it's straightforward. Well, why didn't you get here quicker? Why wasn't this? Why didn't we know about that? Why weren't we notified? And in even structural firefighting, we're taking more of a proactive prevention approach. There's a big emphasis on prevention. Like the trivia question, fires are burning hotter, faster. Like what can we do to prevent things ahead of the game to try to fight it from both ends? So with wildland, it's kind of the same thing. It's empowering the citizens to understand like, hey, this is how you can make a defensible space around your home. And not only that, it took me 5 minutes longer to find you because county roads, county numbering. Hey, we've got our public works department here, our GIS network here. They can help with addressing, making sure you've got appropriate signage. It's like really, if we can cut 10 seconds off of every step of the process and you can save several minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's just the public being aware of all these different things that we can do. And these events have been able to make it, again, where it's all in one place. And we're not just sending them to different offices every day.
Absolutely.
Santa Fe County covers a lot of different terrain. So you have wildland or wildfire. I guess wildland, would be like the forest area.
Either or, yeah.
And then you have the suburban areas, like Edgewood was last week's Wildfire Mitigation Education Day, which is a mouthful to say. How do you cover? Do you change the messaging at each event to maybe cover what the questions may be different in Edgewood versus Nambe from this weekend? I
mean, at the end of the day, the message is all still going to be the same, because even though there's very different fuels for say in each area, the basic message is still the same. You want to create a defensible space around your house. You want to give your home the best chance of survival in a wildfire. And the basic premise on each one is going to be the same no matter what, as well as making sure you're prepared. We've seen this in the larger wildfires that have happened in New Mexico. When people are evacuated, they don't have the things they need. They don't have their emergency kits. They don't have their 72-hour bags. And I've been fortunate enough to assist with one of the largest sheltering operations in New Mexico history during the Hermit's Peak fire, and to see people coming in and not knowing their prescriptions and having to sit with doctors and nurses for hours to try to figure out all the prescriptions that they had because their local pharmacy was now up in flames. Mm-hmm. And walking in with a bag, a plastic bag, because that was all they could get out of their house. And it's really important for people to understand that like that's still plausible. That can happen anywhere. And so we need to be ready. Not only, us as the fire department, but just us as citizens. This is my home. Both myself and Chief Caputo, we live in Santa Fe County. So this is our home. This is where we have our families, and we want to make sure we're safe as well as our neighbors, as well as each other. And if you're not taking care of, it just makes everything a lot harder.
Correct. I think something I'm starting to learn too is that in areas where somebody like your neighbor, say Daniel, because he's great, he's, raking, he has a clean backyard, but I'm lazy and I'm not cutting my weeds or I'm not creating defensible space. If my house starts on fire, it's still really, the risk for Daniel's house to start fire is still really high. And so it's a community effort. Something I took away from our first education day was like the opportunity to learn about our evacuation zones, how to register for Smart 911 so that you can create a profile for first responders to understand, okay, are there pets in the home? Do I have medical devices in case there's, other disasters or issues? And so there's a lot of resources that I think individuals can learn about how they can take action as property owners.
And briefly, since you mentioned two different things, and maybe you did already, could you explain what defensible space is and what Smart 911 is?
I'll take defensible space for sure. So it can get really into the weeds and complicated, but we keep it really simple with our Ready, Set, Go process that our wildland team educates the public on. But the nuts and bolts of it is it's a very basic way to create a space around your home that allows to minimize the fire risk to your home, your residence. So, for example, like the first X amount of feet should be nothing at all, those first several feet from your home. And then the next 30 feet should be very sparse, or cleaning up this or that, or having trees spaced out and not having a bunch of just greenery, all mushed together. And then the next 30 feet after that, there's another objective. So the idea is if a fire is moving, now what you see in California when there's gale force winds and hurricane level winds, where it doesn't matter what you do at that point. But we all understand that that's not something that happens every day in a fire situation. But you've got a low gust wind pushed fire. The efforts that you put in could make the difference of whether or not your house even gets involved at all, or if it gets within 30 feet of your property, of the actual residence. So that's the idea of a defensible space. And the reason why we rely so hard on educating the public on this is, being a government entity, we can come and educate you on that, but we physically cannot come on your property and do the work for you. So the more we educate you and give you the resources available to do it yourself, with that empowerment we keep saying, is to make sure that you've got all the tools you need and the knowledge you need to do it yourself.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for explaining that. That's going to be very informative. Before you talk about Smart 911, Ignacio did send me this property assessment request that you guys have online. Is this tied directly to a defensible space for the fire department to come assess?
Yeah, so this is something that we're offering, and we're actually working on trying to get this online to be able to make it an easier, more streamlined for the people. But right now, they still need to call in and be able to set up an appointment to be able to have that property assessment done.
Okay.
And so what does that look like? Because I know that for homeowners insurance, sometimes your insurance company will request certain things before they issue you homeowners insurance. Is the fire department working with insurance companies, or how do you establish criteria that you're able to say, okay, this is a defensible space, and you guys are going to home by home, and that's different for everybody, right? It looks different.
So when you schedule one of these appointments, guys from our wildland team that are trained in this will come out to your property. So yes, you'll have the education, you could figure it out for yourself, but it's kind of like having your teacher grade your homework, if you will. So they're going to come out and they're going to look at it and go, hey, good job, but you still need to do A, B, and C. Or if you haven't done anything at all, they'll tell you, they're pretty honest, they're nice, but they'll tell you, hey, this is kind of a mess. You got a lot of work to do, or hey, you only have a little work to do.
Yeah.
And they give you what they call a prescription. And then what they do is they come back, and none of this is punitive. You're not doing anything that's setting you up for some sort of fine or failure. It's honestly purely help.
Yeah.
So then they come back and they reassess, and what can be awarded to you is a certificate through us as the county fire department saying that you were provided a prescription by said professionals and you have met this, and this is a certificate you can provide to an insurance company. Now, how I understand it is it's not a guarantee
Correct.
to get you insurance, but it's
Yeah.
something that goes a long way. And I know this is a struggle for county residents right now, is maintaining or even just acquiring insurance, but the certificate does go a long way.
All right. Do you want to describe Smart 911?
Sure. So Smart 911 in itself it's a national initiative, and it's actually the backbone of the alert program that we have here in Santa Fe, the Alert Santa Fe. So Alert Santa Fe itself is a program that we share with the city, and it's both city and county residents. So the city has access to it, so do we, to be able to give notifications. So it's an emergency notification system, and Smart 911 is the backbone of that. So when you go in and you create your account, you're asked to create a Smart 911 account, and you can go as in-depth as you want or as vague as you want. You can go so far as listing, everyone that lives in your residence, pictures of them, pictures of your pets. I know when I set up my personal profile for home, my wife made sure that I set up pictures of the dogs, that every one of them was listed. I joke, but I'm serious. She would have them in the car before she called me to tell the house was on fire.
Names, dietary requirements for each pet.
How many dogs do you have?
So we have 3 Shih Tzus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Toby's on Smart 911.
Nice.
So you got to
That's
get Echo
funny.
on there.
Yeah, I should.
And it's really great because you can also go as in depth as say if you have somebody with medical needs, somebody with, access and functional needs, maybe you have somebody who needs a certain type of medical equipment, all of that can be listed on there so that we're aware if you ever call 911, all that information is populated in the 911 center and they're able to take that and relay that on to first responders. So the next 2 meetings that we do have are education days. The next one's going to be in Nambe at the Nambe Community Center, and that's going to be on May 31st from 10 to 12. And then the one after that is going to be on June 7th. And then so the next one after that is going to be at the Hondo Fire Station. And that's going to be Hondo Fire Station 2, And that's going to be from 10 to 12 as well.
Awesome. So let's briefly talk about volunteers. Do you guys need volunteers? I know there's something going on July 9th.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's anything we need in public safety across the board, in all entities across the nation, is we need people. That's kind of where we're at. And then we need it on both sides. So we are a combination department. We've got career, volunteer alike. The big thing is we're actually gearing up for a new academy as we speak. We run academies every single year. Obviously, it's quite the selection process. It's pretty vigorous, physical testing, written testing. The academy process is 20 plus weeks with a lot of certificates, EMS licensing. And so there's a lot of people that still like to do that. But being a combination department, that may not be someone's cup of tea, or they're just not sure. That's a heck of a commitment to make physically, mentally, for something you're not 100% sure about. And that's why we really like to advertise our opportunity to volunteer. There are several of us that were volunteers prior to going on to the career side, the regional side of everything, as well as we have hired from our volunteer ranks before. So we're always kind of pushing just for people. And then it's like, hey, you personally, what does your life allow for? Where are you at? What is it that you can prefer or that you would prefer? And where can we get started?
And they can even, sorry to interrupt, but they could even volunteer, get a better idea of what it all entails, right?
Exactly. Totally. So yeah, and you can, and the nice there is there's a lot less hoops to jump through, obviously, to get into the volunteer ranks. There is still some screening and basic training you have to go through, but we have expanded dramatically in the last couple of years the functional upfront training to provide people this way they feel valuable up front. That's been the biggest thing, because it's not just recruiting, it's also retaining. And we've learned if you can give people the tools up front to be able to show up and help sooner than later, they want to stick around and do more.
And it's not just about running into a burning building, right? Like, say if that's not what I want to do, what are other volunteer opportunities? Can they assist in rehab? Can they assist in the office? Tell us more about how people can get engaged with you all.
Absolutely. There's a job for everybody. So whatever you're interested in, we're going to have an opportunity for you to be able to do it. So we do run a incident rehabilitation program for our firefighters. So the number one cause of death in the country for firefighters is a cardiovascular event on the fire ground. Mm-hmm. So we mitigate those problems with our incident rehab program. We are definitely by far leading the state on our capabilities, what we do, what we're able to do, and that is a huge portion that volunteers are able to step in and help immediately with and make a difference right away. As well as, if you want to do office work, if you want to be able to do tender shuttles, bringing in water into areas that maybe there's no water because obviously there's no hydrants anywhere in the county, it feels like. There are, but just not as many as as would be needed in these situations. And there's also air truck operations. So there's a job for everybody, no matter what you want to be able to do or what skill set you want to have.
And I know the for the email we got from BC Caputo.
Yeah.
There's a July, when you're doing something for this, is that staff only, July 9th?
Yeah, so it was a project from the county manager's office last year where we did it for county employees only, because one of the biggest barriers for county employees is like, when do they have time? So through a project with him, we coordinated the ability for some employees to walk away from their desk during work hours for a handful of weeks, these half-day long trainings to go through the training regimen that Ignacio's talking about. So we called our exterior operations. So kind of what Olivia was alluding to, kicking in the door, saving the baby. That's a small, the Hollywood stuff is kind of a small portion of the job, but then there's hours worth of work that needs a lot of support from the warm zone, if you will, is like what we like to call it. So one of our upfront trainings that there's no prerequisites other than just needing to be a volunteer is going through the capability of bringing water, bringing air, helping with rehab. And that's what the county manager was allotting for us to do with employees, was putting them through that training, seeing if they liked it. And everyone followed up with, whatever respective district they live closest to. And we got a couple of active members just out of that. So as we speak, we have solicited interest again for this year to potentially do it with county employees, and we'll see how that shapes up.
When's the deadline for employees to sign up to
the end of
the
this
cohort?
week? The end of this week will be 2 weeks of that being open. And yeah.
I'll have to get this podcast out before Friday anyway, so I'll get this as soon as I can.
Yeah, no, and then we just kind of move from there. But
and they're offering administrative leave, right? So there's also an incentive that if employees do this training program, that they also get some, admin leave during that time.
So you're not using the leave you've been saving up. The county manager's giving everyone admin leave for the training hours that go into the program. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, any one of us can be in a situation that you never expected. And a lot of what the fire department teaches is being prepared in those situations, keeping a level head. You don't know what tomorrow holds. And to be able to help your neighbor, for lack of a better word, it matters. And you may be the closest person. You may be the person who steps up in that moment to help somebody. And you could save somebody's life. It can happen to anybody.
Do you guys have anything else to share before we end?
No, I feel good about it. We just appreciate you guys having us on. This is a lot of fun.
It's mutual. Thank you for everything you're doing, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And listen to us on Que Suave 99.9 FM and 810 AM.
Beyond county lines, your community